Stroke is a medical emergency that occurs when the blood supply to part of the brain is interrupted or reduced, depriving brain tissue of oxygen and nutrients. Brain cells begin to die in minutes. Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke. Stroke is the fifth leading cause of death and a leading cause of adult disability in the United States. While many people think stroke symptoms come on suddenly, there may be warning signs 1 month before. In this video, we will discuss the most common warning signs of stroke 1 month before, and what to do if you or someone you know experiences them. Let us first know, what is stroke? Stroke is a common condition caused by abnormal blood vessels in the brain. Someone in the United States has a stroke every 40 seconds. Stroke kills more than 130,000 Americans each year, and many of those who survive are temporarily or permanently disabled. There are two main types of strokes. The first and most common type is stroke. This type of stroke occurs when blood flow through an artery that supplies oxygen-rich blood to the brain is cut off. The second major type of stroke is called hemorrhagic stroke. In this type of stroke, an artery in the brain leaks blood or ruptures and floods brain tissue with blood. The leaking blood puts too much pressure on brain cells, damaging them. There are two subtypes of hemorrhagic stroke. 1. Intracerebral hemorrhage, which occurs when an artery in the brain bursts, flooding the surrounding tissue with blood. And 2. Subarachnoid hemorrhage, which occurs when there is bleeding in the area between the brain and the thin tissue that covers it. In addition to the two main types of stroke, there is another type called transient ischemic attack, TIA, also known as mini-stroke. In this type, blood flow to the brain is interrupted for only a short time, usually no more than 5 minutes. This limits damage to the brain. Let's move on to what causes stroke. An ischemic stroke occurs when the arteries that supply oxygen to the brain become narrow or blocked, reducing or completely stopping the blood supply to the brain. Strokes are often caused by a blood clot or tissue debris carried by the blood. Risk factors for stroke include lifestyle factors, weight, diet, physical activity, smoking, alcohol consumption, and medical conditions, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes. 11 warning signs of stroke 1 month before. Sudden, severe headache with no known cause. This type of headache can come on suddenly and be very intense. It may be accompanied by other symptoms, such as nausea, vomiting, or dizziness. This type of headache is often called a thunderclap headache and can be a sign of a bleeding aneurysm or hemorrhage in the brain. It is important to seek medical attention immediately if you experience a sudden, severe headache with no known cause. Dizziness or loss of balance. This can be a sign that the blood supply to the brain is reduced. It can also be a symptom of other conditions, such as inner ear problems, low blood pressure, or dehydration. However, if you experience dizziness or loss of balance that is sudden or unexplained, it is important to see a doctor to rule out a possible stroke. Confusion or trouble understanding things. This can be a sign that the brain is not functioning properly. It can also be a symptom of other conditions, such as dementia, Alzheimer's disease, or infection. However, if you experience confusion or trouble understanding things that are sudden or unexplained, it is important to see a doctor to rule out a possible stroke. Numbness or weakness in the face, arm, or leg, usually on one side of the body. This is a very common sign of stroke. It occurs when the blood supply to the area of the brain that controls movement and sensation is interrupted. If you experience numbness or weakness in the face, arm, or leg, especially on one side of the body, it is important to seek medical attention immediately. Problems with vision, such as blurred vision or loss of vision in one or both eyes. This can be a sign that the blood supply to the area of the brain that controls vision is interrupted. It can also be a symptom of other conditions, such as diabetes, glaucoma, or macular degeneration. However, if you experience problems with vision that is sudden or unexplained, it is important to see a doctor to rule out a possible stroke. Slurred speech or difficulty talking. This can be a sign that the blood supply to the area of the brain that controls speech is interrupted. It can also be a symptom of other conditions, such as Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, or intoxication. However, if you experience slurred speech or difficulty talking that is sudden or unexplained, it is important to see a doctor to rule out a possible stroke. Changes in mood or behavior. This can include becoming more irritable, withdrawn, or confused. These changes can be caused by damage to the parts of the brain that control emotions and behavior. Difficulty swallowing. This can be a sign that the blood supply to the area of the brain that controls swallowing is interrupted. It can also be a symptom of other conditions, such as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, or myasthenia gravis. However, if you experience difficulty swallowing that is sudden or unexplained, it is important to see a doctor to rule out a possible stroke. Difficulty walking or coordinating movements. This can be a sign that the blood supply to the area of the brain that controls movement and coordination is interrupted. It can also be a symptom of other conditions, such as multiple sclerosis or cerebral palsy. However, if you experience difficulty walking or coordinating movements that is sudden or unexplained, it is important to see a doctor to rule out a possible stroke. Seizures. Seizures can be a sign of stroke, especially if they occur in someone who has no history of seizures. This is because a stroke can damage the part of the brain that controls seizures. Unexplained fatigue. This can be a sign that the brain is not getting enough oxygen. This can be caused by a stroke or by other conditions, such as heart failure or anemia. However, if you experience unexplained fatigue that is sudden or unexplained, it is important to see a doctor to rule out a possible stroke. It is important to note that these signs can also be symptoms of other conditions. However, if you experience any of these signs, it is important to see a doctor to rule out a possible stroke. Stroke is a serious medical condition, but it is important to remember that it is treatable. If you or someone you know experiences any of the warning signs of stroke, it is important to call 911 immediately. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. It really helps me out and it's free. See you next time.